The Federated States of Micronesia, FSM, is grappling with the aftermath of one of the most powerful storms to hit the region in recent history. Super Typhoon Sinlaku, which intensified with terrifying speed over the weekend, made its closest point of approach to Chuuk State, leaving a trail of destruction that has paralyzed the island group's infrastructure and displaced thousands of residents. Super Typhoon Sinlaku reached its peak intensity as it passed north-northwest of Weno, the capital of Chuuk. Meteorological data from the National Weather Service, NWS, in Tinian, Guam, and the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, JTWC, confirmed that Sinlaku achieved Category 5 equivalent status on the Saffir-Simpson scale. Maximum sustained winds 155 miles per hour, 250 kilometers per hour. Peak gusts recorded at over 190 miles per hour, 305 kilometers per hour, near the eye wall. Central pressure dropped to a staggering 915 hectopascals. The storm's rapid intensification was fueled by exceptionally warm sea surface temperatures and low vertical wind shear, a phenomenon climate scientists warn is becoming more frequent due to global warming. Chuuk, an archipelago known for its vast lagoon and volcanic islands, bore the brunt of the storm's southern quadrant. The destructive winds leveled hundreds of traditional and semi-concrete dwellings across the lagoon islands, including Tonoas, Fefan, and Uman. In Weno, the administrative hub, utility poles were snapped like toothpicks, resulting in a total blackout across the island. Communication breakdown. Satellite dishes and cellular towers sustained heavy damage, cutting off the outer islands, the Mortlocks and the Northwest Islands, from the main government center. A storm surge estimated between 12 to 18 feet struck the western and northern coastlines. This led to critical coastal defenses were breached, flooding main roads and making them impassable for emergency vehicles. The surge contaminated freshwater lenses and taro patches, the primary food source for many local communities, raising long-term food security concerns. The airport served as a focal point of the crisis. While the runway remained largely intact, the terminal suffered significant roof damage, and the apron was littered with debris. All commercial flights were grounded, isolating the state from international aid in the immediate hours following the storm. At least 5 fatalities have been confirmed, mostly due to falling trees and structural collapses. Search and rescue teams are still trying to reach remote villages on the mountainous inner islands where landslides are suspected. Over 4,000 people are currently seeking shelter in government buildings, schools, and churches. Many of these facilities are overcrowded and lack adequate sanitation. President of the FSM has declared a state of national emergency, authorizing the release of disaster relief funds. Our hearts go out to the people of Chuuk. We are working around the clock with our international partners to ensure that water, food, and medical supplies reach the most vulnerable, the president stated in a radio address. Under the Compact of Free Association, FEMA and the U.S. Coast Guard have been mobilized to provide aerial damage assessments and logistics. Australia and Japan. Both nations have pledged immediate humanitarian kits, including temporary shelters and water purification systems. While the worst has passed for Chuuk, Super Typhoon Sinlaku remains a potent threat. The storm is currently moving northwest at 12 miles per hour, heading directly toward the Mariana Islands. Guam and the CNMI, Saipan, Tinian, and Rota, are currently under a typhoon warning. Residents there have been urged to complete their heavy lifting and seek shelter immediately. The recovery for Chuuk will be a long and arduous journey. The scars left by Sinlaku serve as a grim reminder of the vulnerability of Pacific Island nations to extreme weather events. As the sun rises over the Chuuk Lagoon today, the community begins the daunting task of clearing debris and rebuilding their lives, bolstered by the island spirit that has seen them through countless storms before. The Chuuk State Emergency Operations Center, EOC, has released a preliminary assessment report detailing the scale of the disaster. 482 homes, primarily traditional thatched and wooden structures, Major damage, 1,240 homes. Loss of roofs, structural instability. 85% of the electrical grid in Weno is non-functional due to 114 downed high-voltage poles. 14 primary schools sustained severe water damage, affecting the education of approximately 3,200 students. 70% of low-lying taro patches on the islands of Fefan and Uman have been contaminated by saltwater intrusion. An estimated 40% of the state's breadfruit trees, a critical food staple, were uprooted by the 155 miles per hour winds. 60% of communal water tanks were either damaged or contaminated by debris and seawater, leading to an urgent need for potable water. The governor of Chuuk State, in a press briefing from the EOC, said, "The scale of destruction we are seeing across the lagoon is heartbreaking. Our immediate priority is clear. We must restore water and medical supplies to the outer islands, where communication remains patchy. We are resilient people, but the intensity of Sinlaku has tested our infrastructure beyond its limits. We are grateful for the swift support from our national government and international partners. Our crews are out in force, but the challenges are immense. With many roads still blocked by landslides and fallen trees, reaching the damaged transformers is a slow process. We ask for the public's patience as we work to bring the heart of Weno back online. I have lived through many storms, even Chatan in 2002, but the sound of the wind this time was different. It felt like the ocean was trying to take the whole island. When the roof of our neighbor's house flew off, we knew we had to run to the church. We lost our crops, but we are thankful to be alive," Maria Mori said. Meanwhile, latest reports show Category 5 Super Typhoon Sinlaku is at about 220 miles southeast of Guam, with gusts up to 55 miles per hour, with rain already touching the island. Heavy showers and isolated thunderstorms are already moving across the region. Sinlaku maintained winds of up to 180 miles per hour and was moving towards the Marianas at 9 miles per hour as of a 6:42 p.m. Monday report from the National Weather Service. Guam is still expected to see less powerful tropical storm-force winds between 39 miles per hour and 74 miles per hour as the storm moves toward the northern Marianas. Those winds and heavy rains that could lead to local flooding and flash flooding are expected by Monday night through Tuesday. A southward shift could still potentially bring to Guam low-end typhoon-force winds of 74 to 95 miles per hour, based on NWS reports. Guam remains under typhoon watch, meaning typhoon-force winds are possible within 48 hours. More likely to see those low-end typhoon-force winds is Rota, about 60 miles to the north. Sinlaku's powerful eye is tracking north of Rota and could pass over or near Tinian and Saipan around Tuesday, according to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. That 10 to 15-mile eyeball shows frequent to constant lightning and the super typhoon's strongest winds, NWS reports. Everyone needs to avoid the coastline and stay out of the water until the surf and rip currents fall below dangerous and hazardous levels, NWS reports. Don't become a statistic. Sinlaku is expected to gradually weaken through the next few days, according to NWS, but is still expected to cross the Marianas as a Category 4 or 5 typhoon. That means wind speeds between 130 and 150 miles per hour for the hardest-hit islands of Saipan and Tinian. For Guam, expect flooding in low-lying and poor drainage areas. Ponding of water in urban or other areas is occurring or is imminent, according to NWS, along with rises in small streams. Dangerous seas of up to 25 feet are expected for Guam, and waters will remain hazardous for several days after Sinlaku passes. NWS has advised residents to stay indoors until at least Wednesday morning. A monster super typhoon is tracking toward the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands, CNMI, prompting a federal emergency declaration and widespread flight cancellations as officials warn of destructive winds and flooding. Joint Typhoon Warning Center, JTWC, said in its 1 a.m. bulletin that Super Typhoon Sinlaku has intensified to 175 miles per hour winds, moving north-northwest at 10 miles per hour and nearing peak strength. Landon Idlet, warning coordination meteorologist at National Weather Service Guam, said the storm's track has shifted slightly north over the past day, with the latest projection now showing a possible passage over Saipan rather than just south of Tinian. He said, an ideal scenario would be for the system to track farther north, keeping the most intense winds offshore, but warned that even a pass 50 miles away would still bring destructive conditions. Typhoon-force winds extend about 60 miles from the center, with tropical storm-force winds reaching up to 275 miles. The escalating threat prompted President Donald Trump to approve an emergency declaration for the CNMI under the Stafford Act, unlocking federal assistance through Federal Emergency Management Agency. CNMI's delegate to the U.S. Congress, Kimberlyn King-Hines, said the support would provide resources before, during, and after the storm, urging residents to remain calm, informed, and prepared. Governor David Apatang had earlier requested the declaration, citing an imminent and escalating threat to life, public health and safety, and critical infrastructure. Authorities have raised Typhoon Condition II for Saipan, Tinian, and Rota, meaning damaging winds are expected within 24 hours, with typhoon-force winds forecast by early Tuesday. Air travel has also been severely disrupted. The Commonwealth Ports Authority confirmed that United Airlines, Philippine Airlines, Hong Kong Airlines, and Tawai Air have canceled flights to Saipan, following earlier suspensions by local carriers. United Airlines warned of broader disruptions, saying all flights to Saipan could be canceled through midweek. Schools across the CNMI have been closed, including public schools and Northern Mariana's College, while officials warn of up to 20 inches of rain and significant coastal flooding between Monday and Wednesday. Apatang also issued a directive ordering all CNMI government offices to remain closed starting Monday until an all-clear is declared following Typhoon Sinlaku. Most private companies have also followed suit. Multiple advisories remain in effect, including high surf warnings, flood watches, and coastal flood alerts, as Sinlaku approaches the islands. Governor David Apatang will place Saipan, Tinian, and Rota under Typhoon Condition 1 at 2 p.m. Monday, 4 p.m. New Zealand time, as Super Typhoon Sinlaku closes in on the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands, CNMI. The CNMI Office of the Governor said Tropical Storm Condition 1 will also take effect for Pagan and Alamagan. Typhoon Condition 1 means destructive winds of at least 74 miles per hour are expected within 12 hours or less, while Tropical Storm Condition 1 signals possible winds of 39 miles per hour or higher within the same time frame. The U.S. National Weather Service in Guam warned that damaging winds could begin Monday night, with the storm's closest approach expected between Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning. Residents on Saipan and Tinian are being told to prepare for Category 4 conditions, with sustained winds of 130 miles per hour to 156 miles per hour and gusts nearing 200 miles per hour. Rota is forecast to experience Category 1 conditions. As of late morning, Sinlaku was about 295 miles southeast of Saipan, moving northwest at 9 miles per hour and expected to maintain its track. Authorities are urging people in weak or non-concrete housing to relocate immediately to designated shelters and to stay off roads to allow emergency responders access. Shelters across the islands opened Sunday afternoon, including sites on Saipan, Tinian, and Rota. Officials said residents should bring essential supplies, including food, water, and bedding, and noted pets are not allowed except for certified service animals. Health services are also scaling back. Outpatient clinics across the Commonwealth will close once higher typhoon conditions take effect, although emergency rooms will remain open. Elective procedures have been canceled, and patients requiring ongoing care, including dialysis, are being contacted. Officials are also advising residents to secure at least a week's supply of medication and to avoid beaches, which are now closed due to hazardous conditions. The governor's office said further updates will be issued as the storm approaches.